They got a good defense. They got good players on offense. It's pretty exciting, if you could go into a situation like that.
Where do you want to be?
Whoever picks first. It's been the dream of mine to go first, and so whoever picks first, can't wait.
This YouTube channel is no stranger to quarterbacks with pretty large personalities. I mean, in some cases, you could make an argument that these personalities are warranted, like in the case of Aaron Rodgers, maybe 4 years ago. But recently, there have been cases of such personalities actually shooting some players in the foot and sabotaging their careers. The most recent example being this guy.
If you ain't trying to change the franchise or the coach, don't give me. You should know history repeats itself over and over and over, and I've done it over and over and over. It should be no question why an NFL franchise should pick me.
I mean, over the past week, we've been making plenty of videos on how Shadeur Sanders tanked his draft stock primarily due to the way he was trash talking, how he attempted to be selective with his NFL team, how his father said that this was going to be an Eli Manning.
Where do you predict Shadeur and Travis going in the draft?
Top 4.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
Anywhere from 1 through 4. One of them is going to be
speak it
one.
into existence.
And the latter one would not go behind 4. I know where I kind of want them to go. So there's certain cities that ain't gonna happen.
Okay, you on point.
It's gonna be it's gonna be an Eli.
And the result for Shadeur was not only embarrassing, but resulted in him losing out on tens of millions of dollars. And whether you want to say this is warranted is up to you. I mean, personally, when you're seeing multiple sources say things like this,
I was surprised it wasn't being talked about. That Shadeur Sanders, I told you, if you've been following the show from the beginning, I told you there were 2 personnel people that I spoke to who were in the room during interviews, which means they're key parts of the organization. Let's leave it at that. 2 teams drafting in the top 10 with quarterback needs where the interviews did not go well. Not disrespectful, nothing harsh, just felt like the phrase I've been using, and I think it aptly describes it. We didn't get the sense that Shadeur cared all that much about what we thought of him.
And at the same time, you're seeing the New York Giants draft Jackson Dart, and then footage like this is coming out on Jackson Dart.
7 Pro, who's the mic?
The mic is 41.
Do you have any issues to the strong side here with the protection?
No.
If he was coming down and getting on the line of scrimmage, you would say what?
Over.
Great.
Good job, buddy. He should be pushing for leverage.
Yep.
Excellent.
On Diesel right, 56 F my canner. Who's running this shallow?
Nah.
Turn. Toss. If you would have pointed the other way out.
You can understand why Shadeur Sanders may have fell all the way to the 5th round of the NFL draft. And in the case of Shadeur Sanders, I guess people didn't think that his talent was actually worth putting up with his attitude and his personality and the fact that he was trying to choose his own team. But 1 year ago, we were in a very similar position with Caleb Williams. But the difference between Caleb Williams and Shadeur Sanders is Caleb Williams filled that prototypical quarterback mold. He had escapability, he had accuracy, he had a rapid quick release. Everybody looked at Caleb Williams and thought this was going to be the next coming of Patrick Mahomes. And if you guys also forget, during the summer of 2024, everybody was singing the praises of Chicago Bears general manager Ryan Poles for not only being able to swindle the Carolina Panthers out of the 2024 #1 overall pick, while also getting DJ Moore and several more picks in return for the 2023 #1 overall pick, but also for making very exciting trades to presumably build around Caleb Williams. Trading for Keenan Allen, for example, or signing DeAndre Swift. But at the same time, there were some moves that didn't really look the greatest as well. Chicago Bears decided to keep their existing head coach, Matt Eberflus, and they decided to hire controversial offensive coordinator Shane Waldron. And if you didn't know who Shane Waldron was back then this clip from Jackson Smith-Njigba is all you needed to see.
Shane Waldron, what can you tell about who they just hired to try to get this offense where it needs to go?
This is live?
Yeah, we're not live. We're not live.
I'm playing. Good luck to y'all. I mean, he's a great person.
Now, what's very unique about this is Caleb Williams' blueprint was very similar to Shadeur Sanders's, and it was kind of similar to Eli Manning's. At least it was something that he was considering, and this isn't even recent news. If you go all the way back to the fall of 2023, there's an article that literally says Caleb Williams doesn't want to play for certain teams. There's a blueprint. And this is where the Caleb Williams controversy began, because his father would speak out on his issues about the structure of the NFL draft, saying the way the system is constructed, you go to the worst possible situation, the worst possible team, the worst organization in the league because of their desire for parity gets the first pick. So it's the gift and the curse. I mean, I've talked to Archie Manning. His career was shot because he went to a horrible organization. I've talked to Lincoln Riley, and Kyler Murray struggled because of where he was drafted. Baker Mayfield struggled mightily because of where he was drafted. And it's kind of interesting because these are two terrible comparisons. I mean, with the Cleveland Browns, Baker Mayfield was pretty good in his rookie year. The Browns tried to build around him and took his endorsement for Freddie Kitchens seriously in his sophomore year, and that didn't end up working out. Despite trading for OBJ, Baker Mayfield regressed tremendously in his second year. When the Browns hired Kevin Stefanski, he had his best season for them. And then in an injury-riddled 2021 season, he regressed slightly. And the same could be said about Kyler Murray. I mean, has Kyler Murray experienced tremendous playoff success? No, but the Arizona Cardinals did make good moves around Kyler Murray, primarily trading for DeAndre Hopkins, bringing in Cliff Kingsbury, who raved about Kyler Murray, which ultimately made his transition to the NFL significantly easier. And while some people felt like Carl Williams was being a huge headache and causing unnecessary drama, I do have to admit that this just seems like a father that wanted to make sure that his son wouldn't have his career sabotaged by an inept franchise. And although these two examples aren't necessarily the greatest, there are some examples here that make a lot of sense. I mean, players like Sam Bradford, Brady Quinn, maybe Josh Rosen, Justin Fields, Will Levis, all never really had the best opportunity to succeed in their given situations. And while you could make an argument that the quarterbacks I just mentioned might never have been talented to begin with, or in the case of Sam Bradford, just couldn't stay healthy, you can also make a very legitimate argument that they were not placed in a good position to succeed to begin with as well. Probably my favorite example in this particular instance would be Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill was selected 8th overall in the 2012 NFL draft, and he had a very rough start to his career. In his rookie season, he threw for 12 touchdowns and 13 interceptions, completed less than 60% of his passes. In his sophomore season, he slightly improved, but he was sacked a league-leading 58 times that year. But in 2015, he was finally able to show his stuff. The Miami Dolphins fired Joe Philbin and finally got Ryan Tannehill a solid head coach. Dan Campbell was the interim head coach during that season, but they decided to move on from him in 2016 for Adam Gase. Tannehill would be serviceable in 2018 before going to the Tennessee Titans and resurrecting his career, putting forth the best seasons of his entire career, primarily because he had Derrick Henry and AJ Brown to throw the football to, with Mike Vrabel coaching him. So I could understand Carl Williams' concern here, but at the same time, he did rub some fans the wrong way because he wasn't only trying to get Caleb Williams to a good situation, he was trying to get equity in a football team. And on one hand, some fans really applauded the fact that Carl Williams was just trying to be entrepreneurial. At the same time, they felt like it was a little conceited of him to assume that Caleb Williams does deserve ownership equity in his team when he hasn't even played a single snap of NFL football. Ultimately, as the draft process began and Caleb Williams declared for the NFL draft, there were rumors that he didn't want to go to Chicago.
I mean, the Bears was an 8-9 team last year, I believe, and 7-10, sorry, and that's pretty good for a team that has the first pick. They got a good defense. They got good players on offense. It's pretty exciting, if you could go into a situation like that.
Where do you want to be?
Whoever picks first. It's been a dream of mine to go first, and so whoever picks first, can't wait.
Eventually, Caleb Williams didn't have much of a choice but to accept his fate. And originally, I felt like this was just as a result of the fact that Caleb Williams was fine with the team he was going to. I mean, it was well constructed. He had a great wide receiver core and had the weapons that were necessary to potentially have a dominant rookie season. But an article just came out from Seth Wickersham that actually does a deep dive on the fact that Caleb Williams was willing to do anything possible to not go to the Chicago Bears, and even considered signing with the UFL. So for those of you guys that don't know what the UFL is, that's what the XFL used to be. So the article opens up by saying Caleb Williams was so concerned about being picked by the Chicago Bears in 2024 that he and his family weighed circumventing the entire NFL draft, consulting with lawyers to figure out a way around the league's collective bargaining agreement while considering signing with the United Football League. His father even said Chicago is the place quarterbacks go to die. In the months before the 2024 NFL draft. And to be honest, I don't really blame him for this take. Before Caleb Williams, we had Justin Fields. Before Justin Fields, we had Mitchell Trubisky. I can't really blame Caleb Williams' dad worrying about his son here. Caleb Williams apparently told his confidants, do I want to go there? I don't think I can do it with Shane Waldron. Man, Shane Waldron's been catching so many strays here. But the article goes deeper, saying Carl Williams went to great lengths to try to circumvent the NFL draft, wanting to give his son an opportunity to choose his future employer. The Bears had not drafted a star quarterback since the 1980s, and their recent draft selections, Mitchell Trubisky and Justin Fields, didn't pan out. Carl Williams was worried that with the franchise's history, stadium uncertainty, and offensive performances under then head coach Matt Eberflus, Caleb Williams wouldn't have the organizational support to succeed. I don't want my son playing for the Chicago Bears, Williams told several agents in 2024. And again, on one hand, while this does seem a little conceited, and we kind of saw a similar situation happening this past NFL draft with Shadeur Sanders, at the same time, I can understand where Carl Williams is coming from. If your talented son goes to the wrong team and has his career mismanaged, then you could lose out on tens of millions of dollars and could be robbed of an incredible career. So Carl Williams spoke with Archie Manning, who helped Eli Manning assert a measure of control over his eventual team in 2004. He also met with labor lawyers and agents and even considered whether his son could sign with the United Football League and become an unrestricted NFL free agent in 2025 to be able to pick a team. In addition to the draft process, Carl Williams vented about the rookie wage scale, which could lock his son into the team that drafted him for up to 8 years. He calculated hundreds of millions of lost market value income. And I think the latter part of this is just so silly. I mean, yeah, there have been generational talents that have been stuck on their original team for up to 8 years. Probably the top player that comes to mind is Trevor Lawrence. I know we don't consider Trevor Lawrence to be generational anymore, but coming out of the 2021 NFL draft, Trevor Lawrence was the highest graded prospect in NFL history since probably Andrew Luck, and he hasn't been able to leave the Jacksonville Jaguars, but I don't think he's necessarily upset about that. Trevor Lawrence signed a 5-year, $275 million contract extension in the 2024 offseason. And mind you, he's in Florida. There's no state income tax there, so I'm not necessarily sure if Trevor Lawrence is really that upset about the contract he's gotten and the fact that he's stuck in Jacksonville. I think complaining about the rookie wage scale is absolutely silly because the rookie wage scale exists for a reason. Prior to the rookie wage scale, quarterbacks would be locked into these heated negotiations with their teams, and sometimes the contract wouldn't be worth it. Most famously, Jamarcus Russell, who held out of training camp in his rookie season and ended up becoming a colossal bust. And I personally feel like the rookie wage scale is necessary, and if your son is able to perform for 3 years, then he makes generational wealth. Not only that, but Caleb Williams was drafted #1 overall and signed a 4-year, $39.6 million contract, which is more money than the average human being sees in their entire life. I mean, even if you are a colossal draft bust, the fact that you were selected #1 overall is more than enough to secure your future and make all of your hard work worth it. So the fact that his dad comes out and says, the rookie cap is just unconstitutional. The CBA is the worst piece of I've ever read. It's the worst in sports history. Just really shows you how out of touch his dad could be, but obviously he's just trying to protect his son, so I kind of respect it. But this is where it gets even juicier. After an up and down final season at USC, Caleb Williams was unsure of what he wanted to do as he prepared for the 2024 draft. At the Combine that year, he met with Minnesota Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell. The two hit it off, and Caleb Williams began to dream of what it would be like to play for Minnesota. I need to go to the Vikings, he told his father. Let's do it, his father replied. But obviously, a trade to a division rival of the Chicago Bears is extremely unlikely, so it didn't end up happening. Bears GM Ryan Poles even said to Williams, "We're drafting you no matter what." So this goes to show how desperate Caleb Williams' family was to get out of Chicago. The only option left was to publicly attack the Bears in the city of Chicago, hoping that it would make the situation untenable, kind of similarly to what Jack and John Elway had done with the Baltimore Colts in 1983. But Caleb was worried that his father would get shot, but his father said, "I don't care. I just don't agree with this you know? I'm more interested in making sure that he can do what he wants to do." Jesus Christ. It's just so melodramatic, you know?
It's like, son, we gotta get you out of Chicago. Just start talking shit about the city. No, Father, I don't want you to get shot.
I don't care. I don't care if I get shot. I just don't want you to play for Chicago, and this situation's not fair.
It's just so insane. The article closes out in the most Disney way possible. It closes out with Caleb going to his dad saying, "I can do it for this team. I'm going to the Chicago Bears." And ultimately, Caleb Williams had a pretty good season for the Chicago Bears, given everything he's went through that rookie season. I know we're a few months removed from the 2024 NFL season, and guys, we're about 3.5 months away from football again. But if you take a look at Caleb Williams' rookie season, he took great care of the football, only threw 6 interceptions, threw 20 touchdowns, completed 62.5% of his passes, and oh yeah, he got sacked 68 times. And mind you, this included some controversy, like Bears veterans wanting Caleb Williams benched before Shane Waldron was fired. Fans would blame the fact that the offensive line was terrible, but at the same time, you would see plays like this versus the paltry New England Patriots defense, and it just didn't make Caleb Williams look great. There were clips of Caleb Williams' own teammates not being willing to help him up, and he had to get helped up by the opposing team. And the play design was just bizarre. I mean, what was this rollout to the left by Shane Waldron? Ultimately, Shane Waldron would get fired, Thomas Brown would get elevated to offensive coordinator, Matt Eberflus would screw up clock management during a nationally televised Thanksgiving game that the Chicago Bears could have potentially won. Then Matt Eberflus got fired, Thomas Brown then got elevated from offensive coordinator to head coach, and ultimately Caleb Williams got exactly what he wanted this past offseason. The Chicago Bears once again had a generational offseason. I mean, it's actually quite impressive. They hired Ben Johnson, they traded for Joe Thuney, they signed Grady Jarrett, they drafted Colston Loveland, they also traded for Jonah Jackson, they remade their offensive line, they got a brilliant offensive mind to work with Caleb Williams, and he has plenty of weapons to throw the football to. Now, on paper, are the Chicago Bears as complete of a football team as the Minnesota Vikings? Absolutely not. There's a reason why Aaron Rodgers is still holding out hope that the Minnesota Vikings will sign him. And if you don't believe me, go look at the Minnesota Vikings roster. They are the most complete team on paper, although we don't know what to expect from JJ McCarthy this season. At the same time, the Chicago Bears on paper are starting to get to where they need to be competitive, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is a playoff team this year. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about this for Caleb Williams? Do you think this is a terrible look for him, or is this just what you expected? I'd like to hear what you have to say. Aside from that, I don't know if you guys heard, but there's some crazy stuff going down in Cincinnati, and a lot of it is Joe Burrow's fault. We have a completely separate video on that. I'm gonna leave it in the end screen and meet you guys there. I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.